break out into sessions and, get other people's opinion and ideas about whatever topic we're talking about at that time. But I'm still going to make it participatory. So we're looking at today the do's and the don'ts of resume writing. So what are the things that you shouldn't do when you're writing your resume, and what are the things that you should do? So quickly, our outline for today, we're going to understand the don'ts of a resume, the do's, and then the formatting and layout tips, and then the final steps as well. So we're going to unmute, and I think everybody is probably available to talk and chat. So what do you think are things that you would identify as things that we should not do when we're writing a resume? Feel free to unmute, and then please, if you have any contribution on YouTube, that would be much appreciated as well. Feel free to unmute. What do you think are the don'ts? What are the things that we should not do when we're putting our resume together?
Not including unnecessary details that doesn't have any relevance with the job being applied for.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's very key. So not including any unnecessary jargons, things that are not required for that particular job. Anything else?
We should not be inconsistent. Inconsistent in terms of the font size, the font type, like you taught us earlier on in this lesson.
Yeah, that's it. We should try to ensure that when we have putting our CV together, whatever font you have chosen to use from the beginning, that's what you're going to finish off with. Yes, any other one?
We should not write in any other language than that spoken in the country where you are applying for the job, than the recognized language.
It's a very funny one, yeah, but definitely you're right. So you don't want to send a CV that you're written in Spanish, for example, to somebody that is in England and can only speak English. Or you want to send a Welsh a Welsh CV to somebody in Russia. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we have to be careful at that. Yeah. Any other one? Any other one?
I think depending on your location, well, in the United Kingdom, you don't need to put irrelevant details like your date of birth, your state of origin, your nationality. Yeah, so I think some details should be excluded. Unlike another part of the world, like a country in Africa, my own country in Nigeria, I recently realized that people now had to have their date of birth, their state of origin on their CV, and their passport photograph. I don't know how that applies to a CV.
Yeah, how would I put it now? It does not, I don't think it has any relevance to if you want to employ somebody that you don't know. Like you want to employ somebody that you don't actually know. That's when in Nigeria, I would say that I think the equality kind of, I don't know. I think equality might be something that is not in most of the organization there. They don't actually do use equality to hire people. So, they can actually hire people based on referral. They put the job advert out there, but they already know who they want to employ, if you know what I mean. And that's why in civil services, most of the job in civil services in the UK now, when you are asked to apply, they tell you to de-identify your CV. So whatever you're going to send to them, or whoever is doing the who's doing the sift, checking through the CVs, or what you have sent, does not is not going to see your name, your email address, the school that you went, anything that can identify you at all. The person would not see. The person would be judging based on the roles that you have, what you have put in as your job, what you did, and your personal statement that you submit. So you remove anything that can actually make them to identify you for most of the civil service roles, especially the high grade ones. Anything else?
We should avoid abbreviations. We should use
Quite.
full sentences.
No,
Huh?
no. Well, if you say full sentences, yes, but abbreviation, I would say no.
Yeah, unnecessary abbreviations.
No, don't say that. I was hoping you were going to ask me why. The reason why I'm going to tell you that, because don't forget that we said that you have to keep your your CV to 2 to 3 pages based on how many years that you've worked. So if, for example, you want to um say that you have a skill, and for example, you want to tell them that you know how to use the Amazon Web Services, which is AWS. If you write it in full, that takes space. And you want to keep writing Amazon Web Services for every time that you want to reference that, it's going to take a lot of space on your CV. But abbreviation, make sure that when you're abbreviating something that everybody would know. So you are not saying, you don't want to say TBC in your CV or something, or TWH, to be honest. All those abbreviation, yes, is not necessary. But when it comes to what's it called? When it comes to the job itself and some of the things that you do on the job, or what's it called, public skills that you have, sometimes you might need to abbreviate. So if you, for example, you want to say that you've received a a qualification from somewhere, I would say that you wouldn't abbreviate that. So you can't just on your CV, for example, for people that went to Cardiff Met, you don't want to say you got your master's from Cardiff Met. Not everybody knows that it's called Cardiff Met. You definitely have to write it in full as Cardiff Metropolitan University. But there are other things that you would, especially when it's aligned with the field that you're working. Anybody that picks your CV up that knows about that works in that field and is relevant to the job that you've applied for would understand what the abbreviation is. Thank you very much, Ma, for that one. Thank you. So any other one? Any other don'ts? So we're looking at the don'ts first. Any other don'ts? We've not heard from Adiola Ayola. We've not heard from you. Any other don'ts? What are the examples of the things that you should not write on your CV? Okay. So let us proceed. Let's
How
proceed.
about wrong spellings?
Yes, thank you. Don't ensure that you have to avoid wrong spellings. So you need to ensure that you do your, what's it called? You do your You do your proofs.
Due
Sorry.
Is it due diligence?
Yeah, spell check.
Spell check, yes.
Yes, make sure you do your spell check. And then one thing that people always forget to do, right? One thing that people always forget to do is that when you are when you open your Microsoft Word, depending on how you've set up your computer, if you set up your computer to say that probably, like a US kind of computer, when you put Microsoft Word on it, it's going to assume that you're in the United States. And the way they spell things in US is different from the way we spell it. Even though we speak the same English, the way they spell it, in some of their words, they will put Z. But for the British English, they will put S. Do you understand what I mean? So you need to ensure that you are using the right. When you're saying organization, it's not a Z, it is S. When you're saying minimize, you have to ensure that you're using the right kind of spellings in the locations where you find yourself. Okay? Any other person before we any other person you want to suggest?
Wrong grammar.
Wrong grammar. Thank you. So ensure that you cannot just, instead of, you want to, obviously you cannot say I in your CV, but then make sure that you're using the right your right pronoun, the right verb, yeah, and your spelling check, your grammar check. Microsoft Word is very good at that at the moment, where they check your grammar and ensure that your sentences are written correctly. Okay. So I've got some extra ones as well. So let's just move on. I've got some extra ones as well. And part of what I've written as well is avoid using overused phrases. Like you are talking about you're a team player. A team player is part of your skill. Leave it in your skill. Don't go and start putting it in your job description for all the jobs that you have done. You're hardworking. It's overused. Don't stress it. If you put it as maybe in your profile, or you can't put hardworking as part of your skill. You can put it in your profile, but you can even ignore it. You can look for another synonym for it. Something else that is not a common thing that people always use. So instead of using overused words or overused phrases, use something that details your skills and achievement. Another one is not including irrelevant information. Sister Falakemi mentioned that before, that you should not, put anything that is not necessary for that particular job role. So you're applying for the role of a support worker, for example, and you're putting everything that a business analyst does in your CV. It's not relevant. So definitely focus on what is relevant. Don't include anything that is not relevant. Remove any irrelevant information that would even make the person, whoever is reviewing the CV, to be distracted or to undermine your achievement or your credentials. So remove any irrelevant information. Another one which we have mentioned is avoid errors and inaccuracies. So make sure you try as much as you can to proofread. And don't do it yourself. You can give your CV to somebody else. You just tell the person, the only thing I want you to do is just proofread. Make sure my grammar is right. Make sure I've used the right tenses, because you cannot be writing your CV and be writing in the future. And you cannot be writing your CV in the present. Your CV is always something that you have done. Right? So you're using the right tenses in your CV. So get somebody to proofread your CV. Do your spelling, grammar, your spelling and your grammar. Make sure that there is no error. And then ensuring professionalism. And you know what? I've had, obviously this is all around CV, but then I had an interview once, and I was asked to do a presentation. But I was actually under pressure. I think at that time I'd recently had my son then. I recently had a baby then, and I was under pressure with trying to, take care of a child and trying to look for a job. Everything was quite cumbersome. And I did my presentation. I think I submitted it or gave it to them. Maybe on that day of the interview, that was the day I submitted. And I didn't get anyone to look at it. Guess what? One of the reasons why I was not given the job was because I had typos in my presentation. So which some people are quite detailed and they don't want you to have all those kind of errors in your CV as well. So one needs to be very careful. Okay, now we're going to move into the do's. I was hoping I would have one more person and then we'll be able to do the breakout room. If somebody else joins, and then we'll definitely be breaking up probably in the next topic. So now we're going to talk about the do's of your resume. So that's the opposite of what we talk. So let's just go dive into it. So obviously we've said that before, tailor your CV, your resume to the job that you're applying for. Align your skills to the job description. You cannot always try to customize as much as possible your CV. You cannot, for people that are in healthcare, you know that there are various types of healthcare, right? Hello?
Yes.
Yes, there are various types of healthcare. There are people that call themselves support workers, and there are different types of support workers as well. There are some support workers that are mental health support workers. There are some support workers that are community support workers. There are some support workers that are living support workers. So they do living care. And what you do in those kind of jobs are not always the same. So if you are applying for the role of a mental health support workers, for example, there are some things that you should not, remove from your CV. And then if you're saying somebody just send you, and if you want to apply for the role of a care assistant, some things that care assistants do, support workers don't do them. In some support work, they don't even do personal, what's they call that thing? Personal care at all. But as a care assistant, most times you engage in personal care. So you have to ensure that you customize your CV whenever you apply for a job. Other do's that you need to do with your CV is highlighting the relevant skills. Highlighting the relevant skills and achievements. Make sure the skills and that you're highlighting and the achievement, they are relevant to the job description. Make sure that what we looked at last week around making your CV show quantifiable results. Your impact in the organization, what did it change? What did you do differently? How did you, when you are in an organization, what changes were there? Make your CV impactful. Make sure you're using clear and concise language, effective communication, avoid jargon. Keeping your sentences short. So you're not putting a job role and then you're writing like 3-4 lines before you put a full stop. You can break all those things that you want to put together in one sentence. You can break it down. Make it easy so the person is, somebody is reading your CV and they're happy. They're just reading it line by line, sentence by sentence, and they're happy with it. I'm just trying to see if I can bring up my CV, and because I always like to ensure that what I am talking about, we can see it as well, so that all right. So this is what I'm talking about. Make your sentences are not too long. Don't make it boring for somebody to read. Make sure they are short sentences and they are they are going straight to the point, telling exactly what needs to be done. So, Falakemi, we were talking about abbreviation the other time. This is an example of an abbreviation that anybody that works in my industry that picks my CV up would understand what I mean by UAT.
Okay.
But if you're not in my industry and you pick up my CV, you would not understand what UAT means. That's why, obviously, it is the people that are in that field that would definitely review CVs that will be used to for that particular job. So quickly, we'll just look at, formatting and layout. We've discussed this before. I'm just going to reiterate it again. Ensure that you choose the right format, choose the right type of CV, which was what we dealt in the first time we met. Choose the right type of CV that is right for you. Ensure that whatever way that you want, make sure it is clear headings, your bullet points. Use bullet points for clarity. Make sure your CV is very easy to navigate. So don't try as much as you can. I would say to people, try as much as you can not to send your CV to people in Microsoft Word. Let me just try and open this my CV in Microsoft Word, and I'll tell you why I'm saying that. Try as much as you can not to send your CV in Microsoft Word, because Microsoft Word, don't forget, when somebody opens it, it gives room for editing. Are you with me? Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Just wanted to be sure
Hi.
you're with me. So Microsoft Word gives room for editing, gives room for your CV to be edited. And then if somebody by mistake, just probably click that, they can delete or they can press anything, and that takes off that section, or things can move around on your CV. So try as much as you can not to send your CV to people in Microsoft Word format. Send your CV, convert it to PDF, save it as PDF, and then you can send it.
Okay.
Ensure that you balance, so this one is very key. Ensure that you balance your text and the white spaces. Importance of white space. Adequate white space prevent the resume from appearing clustered. What do we mean by, see, if you can see, because I have a lot, in the CV, I have a lot of white spaces on my CV. It's not making my CV, making it look, I have an example of a clustered CV. If somebody else has sent it to me, I will share it with you as well so that you can see what I'm talking about. Can you see? Can you see this person's CV? If you pick this CV, now what would you think? Hello? Please, I want us to interact. I want us to interact. If you're looking at this CV now, do you think it's clustered?
Yes, it is.
Excuse me?
It's clustered. It's not
All
easy
right.
to read because you have things on the left, things on the right. Yeah.
Still, I am talking a bit far from sorry, apologies. Yeah, you're talking a bit far from the mic. So, but yeah, I got you. So it's actually clustered. You have things on the left. So somebody is trying to look at the tools, they're looking at the left, and they're trying to read your experience, they're looking at the right. Ensure that the type of CV format you choose to use is not a clustered one, right? Make sure there's enough white spaces. Enhance visual flow. So the CV that I just shared now, like Cecilia mentioned, the visual flow is not right. So I want to call this person for a job now. Okay, I've seen the person's phone number and email, and then I'm looking at tools on the left, and then I'm looking at career, and then I keep looking at career, I see qualification, and then I keep looking at career, I see soft skill. I keep looking at career, I see backlog. It's not, it's not there's no the visual flow of that particular CV is not right. Then highlighting important details. Ensure that you always highlight the important details. So final steps and review. Proofread. We've mentioned that before, and we're still stressing again. Make sure you're proofreading your CV. It is very, very important. Read it as much as possible. Get somebody to read it on your behalf. You can even, pay for professional touch on your CV. You can do that, because if you want to give somebody to write your CV for you, they will still need to know what experiences you have done. So you still talk about it. But then they would make sure that there is no error, there's no jargons, there is no spell check. And even if when they submit, they give it back to you, you still have to check it yourself. And don't just assume that that's how it's going to be. Now, seek feedback from others. Send your CV to your friends. And we have this kind of idea in our head. Oh, when I send my CV, they will copy. What are they copying? What are they copying? If I send my CV to my friend, she's going to copy all my job. Yeah, let the person copy, but can the person defend what you have done? So if you put something on your CV and somebody else copies it, can the person defend what you have done? So don't be skeptical of sending your CV to somebody to review it for you. Obviously, you send it to somebody you trust that can have a valuable insight. I'd probably look at it and say, oh, you need to add X, Y, and Z, or you can take this out of it just to make sure that, whatever, that feedback will, like I said, will allow you to be able to catch for errors and then give, improvements. If you send your CV to a colleague and the person said, you missed out, you forgetting that we used to do this, you know how to do medication, it's missing on your CV, you know how to do this, it's missing on your CV, the person would have valuable insight for you. And then the person can actually remove things from it as well and also catch errors. And don't forget, customize your CV, tailor it based on the job that you have applied for. Right? In conclusion to the do's and don'ts of resume writing, we need to understand the purpose of why you're writing that resume, why you're understand, then follow best practices. Everything that we have said about the don'ts and the do's, and the things how you can correct the things around the don'ts, are the things that you need to do for best practices. Make sure your CV is clear, avoid common mistakes, typo, complex design, irrelevant information. Because your CV is the first thing that an employer is going to see. So you need to use your CV to make a strong first impression. My name used to give people an impression about me because my name is English. It looks English, right? So when I go for interviews, and they are always, most of the time, always shocked, and you can see it on their faces when they are like, so he's a black person that is on but then my CV has sold me, right? That's the reason why they actually schedule that interview in the first place. So make sure that your CV is going to give a first strong impression before they call you for that interview, where you are then going to defend whatever is on your CV. Any questions before we move ahead to the next thing that we're doing today? Any questions? Or any contribution, please. There's opportunity for us to contribute today, so please feel free to contribute. Any contributions? So today we only have Cecilia and Falakemi. Do you have any contributions?
Not at the moment.
No.
Wow. So it's like everything I said was fantastic.
Yes, 100%.
All right. So that's very good then. So we can straight away move on to the next thing that we're going to be looking at today. And this is something that is definitely common among people, especially, if people that are trying to change career, people that are relocated. It happens to people a lot. And we need to understand how to handle it. How do you handle employment gaps on your resume? How do you handle employment gaps on your resume? So for this particular topic, we're going to we're going to understand exactly what are employment gaps, what are the strategies that we use to address them, and then how do we then showcase professional growth on our CV, even though we have employment gaps. They are very, very important things that we need to, because when you have an employment gap, so for example, if you have been out of work for like 3 months, there are other further checks that they normally do. But then on your CV, there is a gap. So you need to be able to defend the gap because they would ask the question. The prospective employer would always ask, so why have you not done anything between December and January, or sorry, between December and March, for example? You make sure you have something very important, so you can say you've been doing training. You can, and you don't have to just say training because they would ask what type of training. So make sure yeah. So, but we'll talk about it in detail. So that's what we're looking at now. So what I'm going to do now, so we have Cecilia and we have Falakemi. I am going to ask that you discuss the common reason. So I want you to both to discuss, and then you just choose one of you to just talk to us. So what do you think are the common reasons why we have employment gaps? So Cecilia and Falakami, I'm not going to do a breakout room because it's just the two of you at the moment. So Cecilia and Falakami, I want you to just just spend about 2-3 minutes to brainstorm on why people have employment gaps on their resume.
Okay. You are a good example now. I want to assume that
You and Cecilia, you are discussing. It's just you and Cecilia now. Me,
okay,
I'm not here.
okay, you are not there. Okay, so for some people, it could be for childbearing or raising children. Some people may decide to take a break of a year or two just to be able to, nurture their newborn. That could be one of the reasons for gap in employment. Another one could be for someone that is on the part-time studies. Person may decide I want to go um, to further my education on a full-time basis. The person could take a break off work. And then like those in the academics, they could take a sabbatical leave for say 3 years or more to go overseas or to go back to school to study. That is also there. Another thing is like for me now, I was in the bank for years, and if I'm applying for another role in the bank industry, I want to assume that they are going to ask that I had a break in that career. And, my reason will be that I ventured into another career, and now I've decided to come back to my previous career. So I think those are some of the reasons, ma.
Yeah, I quite agree with you with those. So you mentioned maternity, study, also self-development, or personal development. Some can be how about changing career, like a career change.
Yes, which was the example I gave of myself.
Yeah,
That I was in the banking industry for years, and now I'm in the health sector. So that's a change in career for me.
okay, okay. Okay. I think
Which is
another one
actually
can be relocation.
gap in yes. But relocation for what purpose? For studies
Mm,
like those people in the academics are bit doctorate.
yeah. Yeah, relocation to maybe as a result of family moving. And so before you settle down, before you and all that. I think your line is breaking.
Yeah.
Okay, so maternity or paternity.
Yes. Or even bereavement. Some people could
bereavement.
take some time off for bereavement. Yeah.
It could be sickness as well.
Yes. I think those are the major reasons.
Sickness or serious injury.
Yes. Yes. For those in the health sector. Some people may take a break from that career because of some back injuries. And then they come back again after some years to continue working as a support worker. At least I've seen one or two people like that.
Okay. Sickness.
All right. So, what did we identify?
We've been able to identify 7
Wow,
reasons
that's really
for
good. Let's go.
employment gaps. Yeah,
Let's
so we
have them.
have maternity or paternity,
Okay.
study, which is part-time or full-time. So
Okay.
as a result of that, they take sabbatical. Personal development, career change, relocation, bereavement, sickness or serious injury.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's true. So somebody can be bereaved and the husband or the wife can choose to stay away, depending on their relationship, actually, even of a
Yeah.
bereavement of a child, can choose to stay away. And then for career change as well, if you're for career change, for career change that you mentioned, I'm just trying to see how you can use that in a positive way. Because when you're saying that you're changing career, the fact that you want to change career does not necessarily mean that there will be a gap in your CV
It could be
or
like,
your
okay,
CV.
maybe other personal development or upskilling for career change.
Yes, that's the right, because obviously if you want to change career, so for example, you want to stop being a support worker or you want to stop being a retail assistant and then you want to become a business analyst, definitely you need to probably acquire some skills, either hard or soft skills that you'd need. So you would be able to defend that and say, okay, while you're aspiring to change your career into that role probably that you have applied for, you are upskilling yourself and you can show, how you have done that on your CV as well. Either you have attended schools and things like that, or you are doing courses that in order to upskill yourself. Thank you very much, for Lakemi and Cecilia, for spending time to look at those. So I've put, my own things there as well. So from other things, so you have some personal circumstances, which is what we have said. So factors like your, health issues, family responsibility, like you said, paternity, maternity, somebody is sick and you're the only carer for that person, if probably somebody is ill and then there's nobody else to look after that person and one is the only one that can, definitely you have to probably take time off work and or off career or take a career break in order for you to ensure that that person is looked after. So definitely that might lead to having an employment gap, and so that's something that one needs to note, and we can definitely always defend. You have further education, so definitely you would, if you are doing if you're into full-time education, that would definitely put a career gap on your CV, and that's a career gap. But then if you want to defend it, so if you have like probably you leave a country, so for example, people that have left Nigeria to the UK to study, on your CV, it wouldn't really look bad that you don't have anything from maybe 2022 to 2024 because you started your study in 2022 and and it's a full-time study. Naturally, the people are not even expecting you to do anything anyway than to focus on that study. So even though it is a career gap, but then you have chosen time to actually um prioritize learning over getting a job straight away. You have some articulate reasons, that you need to ensure that you can articulate the reasons clearly. Make sure that you identify those gaps. Look at your CV, identify the gaps, and ensure that you can identify them and articulate them to your prospective employer. And then what does this have? What the impact of having an employment gap, what does it have on job applications? It can raise concern for hiring managers, leading to potential hesitation to hire you. So I'll give an example. I was working on a role and I was a contractor. My contract ended, but I didn't get a contract straight away. And it took about 2-3 months before I could get another contract. Obviously, that gap is there. And they would ask, what have you been doing since that time? It's just to make it, I was able to defend myself. My skills were needed. So I was studying and I had evidence of my study. So that you need to, it definitely raise concerns. Sometimes, because of, depending on what you were doing when you had a career gap, it might make employers or prospective employers to hesitate in trying to, because if you had probably left the career for like 3-4 years and you're trying to come back in, most of the time people struggle. That's why some organizations have this um roles now that they have created that helps people that have taken a break to be able to come into their role or come into the roles and get themselves better. So you can imagine somebody that have left a job for like maybe 4 years. A lot of things have changed. Somebody that are with the people that were into robotics at that time, maybe 4 years ago, there were not a lot of things around advancement around artificial intelligence. But now there is so much on artificial intelligence that when somebody that has gone away from the job for maybe 3 or 4 years is coming back, the person will not be able to probably, they'll have to do a bit of more reading. So that's why some employers try to bring them in so that they can come into their job easily and be able to do better. Addressing gaps effectively. It is essential to clearly and positively address it. Don't share it as something that is negative. It happens. Life happens, right? So you have to make sure that you address it positively. So if, for example, maybe to a person, the person had to take care of children, or the person had to give birth. It's something, it's life, it happens. You just need to, I had to take a break in order for me to be able to look after my children, blah, blah, blah. And the way you say it would make some people are very they show empathy while they're listening to you. That the fact that you have a gap on your CV does not necessarily mean that you will not get a job. Once you address it, if you cannot address it on your CV there and then, make sure when you're applying for a job, if it's a very big gap, probably you need to look for how to address it on your CV. If you want to put it in your personal statement, part of your profile, that you have taken a break because of X, Y, and Z, and now you're coming back into the industry. Just make sure that somewhere on your CV that somebody has seen it and they understand the reason why. And that would enhance the reason why or increase your chances of landing an interview. Now, looking at employers' perception of job employment gaps, we have the negative perception, we have the proactive address. Once you are proactive, so employers often view employment gaps as a sign of low commitment or missing skills. That's their perception. Some of them see it like that. And you have to, like I said, you have to proactively address those gaps. Make sure that somewhere on your CV, so probably around your personal state, your profile, probably a sentence on it, to make your employer understand the reason why the gap is there. Ensure that if you are somebody that has a gap on your CV, make sure that you are putting the relevant skills that is required for that job. Make sure that you put it there, that you have it. The job description, make sure that what they're asking for, put it on your CV. Let them be looking at it. And if you don't, this person, she's not worked for like 2 years on this particular, but then she has all the skills, at least so that they can even give you a shot of coming for an interview. So please and please, so we look at the strategy. What are the strategies to address employment gaps? Be honest and be proactive. That's the first thing. You cannot lie about it. It's there and it's obvious. It's there, and that's most of the people, what they tend to do is they tend to lie about it. Don't lie about it. It's there, it's obvious. Talk about it so that build the trust with the employer. Let them know that, yes, the fact that you've not worked, they told us. They see you as somebody that is honest. Mention the gap, like I said before. Mention the gap on your. Mention it on your. If you don't want to put it on your CV, on your CV, in your profile, probably you shouldn't even put it there. Put a cover letter. True. So when you are when you are applying, they ask for. When they're applying for a job, they do ask for. They ask for your CV, and sometimes some of them will make the cover letter that they want a compulsory cover letter as well. Mention it in your cover letter. Let them know so that you'll be ready. You will be ready for the interview, so that they know that yes, you are ready to discuss it. And on your CV, like I said, make sure that you are confident about the things that you put on there. You're not putting unnecessary jargons because you want to come back into work. Sell yourself with your CV, with your cover letter, to make sure that you have disclosed to your employer or prospective employer that you have the gap. And that's what I've just said. So this is what you would do. Sometimes you would have relevant skills. How can you highlight it? How can you highlight these relevant skills? Even though it's a career gap, you are not making money on it. Volunteer. You are looking for a job, in HR. Volunteer. Look for a place where you can volunteer. I had a thought when I was discussing. I think I was talking to Cecilia this afternoon, and I had a thought, but I didn't share the thought with her that somebody is looking for a job in HR or trying to change career into HR. Volunteer in helping in making sure that there are right people in the right department. You can be the person doing the screening. You just know what skills is required for in the music department, in the welfare department, the welfare. So if anybody is coming in and saying, oh, want to join the department, or as an organization, you can be the one to volunteer to recruit or to make sure that the right people are in the right place. And let me tell you, putting something that you have volunteered on your CV, nobody can crucify you for it. Nobody can crucify. It showcases your commitment and your adaptability. They will even love you more. I remember I had an interview recently and they were asking me, what do I do at my leisure? And I tell them, oh, apart from me cooking and looking after my kids, I volunteer. I train people. I do volunteer training to people. And we've not even started this training then, but I know that I have that. I train people. So you can volunteer. So make sure that you can always answer that question. Put those skills that you have used, voluntarily, that you have done voluntarily, put them on your CV. Freelance project. You are a self-employed person. At that time, probably while you are still trying to get a job, you started doing some small business on the side, or you're picking up on a project that probably you're helping somebody to do. There's still work, even though you're not getting paid. You can use that on your CV as well to say you're a freelance person. And then, like I mentioned before, if you have done any courses that relate to that job that you're looking for, put it on your CV as well. And part of how you can ensure that you sell yourself properly is making sure that you use a functional kind of resume. We spoke about different types of resume before, different type of CV. If you use a functional CV, probably a functional and the traditional and what's a chronological one, they will help to hide the employee, like not hide it, but they will downplay it. So the person looking at your CV is focusing more around your skills rather than putting everything on chronological work history. If they will still find out, they might still ask the question, but you have used the focus on your CV to overplay or to downplay, work history. If you are somebody that have employment gap, showcasing professional growth. Obviously, like I mentioned before, showcasing engagement, yourself doing volunteering work, skill acquisition, character and work ethics. That's the one I need to just highlight on. So highlighting this experience reflects your character. Once you can say that, say you are volunteering, you are doing some freelance work, you are learning new skills, it shows the type of person you are on your CV already and your cover letter. It reflects that you have a strong work ethic. That even when she's going, if you employ this person, if she works with us, she's going to have very good strong ethics. She's going to have a very good etiquette. She wants on her job, she's going to want to learn more. She's going to want to go for training and things like that. So you need to showcase that in order for you to sell yourself. I've mentioned continuous learning before, so emphasize continuous learning and certification. So show the courses that you have achieved, you completed, certifications you have achieved, any training program that you have done. Showcase them on your CV. Let them know that yes, you are ready to come back into work and you're coming back to smash it. And I did mention this when we started discussing this particular topic, that you need to prepare to discuss it. Don't think that your employer will not see it, though. Your employer will see it, though. Your employer will see it. So you need to be prepared to discuss it. Be honest during the interview, because when they ask, when you are putting your when you are doing, if they give you the job, you will still do referencing, and you cannot, you need to just tell them that this is who I am. Make sure that whatever you are doing during your employment, during that employment gap, make sure that it is, if you are giving it to them positively. Don't sell yourself negatively. And just when you're saying it, be confident. Be confident when they're talking about your gap. Be confident about whatever you're saying in order for you to sell yourself. Okay. Do we have any questions? And I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. Do we have any questions around employment gaps and things that we need to do, identifying it? And do we have any questions or any contributions at all? Questions or contributions? Cecilia, so what's your take from today? Falakemi, what is your takeaway from today?
Yeah, my takeaway is the emphasis on making positive comments about the gap, And for one to be able to do that, that means one would have endeavored to do something meaningful within that period of being sense the positivity about gaps. That's what I'm taking away today.
Thank you very much.
About the employment gap.
Thank you. Adiola, what's your takeaway from today's training?
Yes. I learned that we should focus on our relevance. Then we should avoid error. Then we should avoid we should avoid errors in our grammars. Then we should caution on our spellings. We should watch over our spellings. And even someone will write our CV for us, we should try to say genuinely what's all our experience on the job. So we should not add to it. And then while writing our CV, so we should not be saying, I'm very hardworking, I'm so, or over saying of ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that. Cecilia?
Yeah, so I learned that we should make our CV to be clear and concise. We should try to write a functional CV or a chronological functional CV, and that helps us to downplay the gaps and focuses on our experience and our strength. So that's what the employer will see, and then we should be ready to talk about the gaps and be able to defend why we have the gaps. And we can also write like a statement or a line in our opening statement on our CV to explain why we had the gap.
Thank you very much, everyone, for that. Yes, having openings, I would say, well, maybe we shouldn't have it on the CV. I think I'm thinking back again and thinking maybe we shouldn't have it on the profile on the CV, but definitely when you're sending off the job application, support it with a cover letter. And in the cover letter, you already put in the reason why, or that obviously that the employer will identify the gap and the reason why there is a gap. So it doesn't look like you're hiding something. So maybe put it in your cover letter. Make sure there is a drafted cover letter every time you want to submit an application when you have an employment gap. Every time you want to submit an application, make sure there is a cover letter. And then that has highlighted that, giving the employer, that opportunity to say, oh, she's quite honest with us. Giving that employer to see that, yeah, somebody that is genuine. And yeah, I think that's it for today. And because there's no questions, and thank you everyone for the contribution. Do we have any contribution on YouTube or any questions?
None.
Okay. All right, then I think we'll stop here today. Please, I want you to share with your friends, share this particular link. Let them come and get themselves trained. Share it. We're getting the funding from the National Lottery is very, very good in partnership with the Fortified City of God. So please share the word that there is a place where they can actually get trained and ensure that they have the proper skills that they actually need, or they have the kind of CV that they need to get a job, and how for them to be able to go for an interview and be successful. Please share it, share the words, and let people know that it's free training. It's nothing to be paid. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week again, Wednesday, 6 p.m., and then Thursday, 6 p.m. as well. Thank you, and enjoy your evening.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.